church, when it comes to Chris and his dogs, Nicole is a better woman than all of us. And y'all know exactly what I mean. I got my notes. I hope y'all got yours. Let's get on into this doggy-based mess. Listen, to my returning church members, baby, welcomes. And to all my new people, please make sure to smash that subscribe button and to also click that bell notification so you are notified every time I decide to upload a video. Now listen, today my outfit is giving distress, okay? Because in the eternal words of my sister Melanie Fiona, I got trouble with my friends, trouble in my life. Problems when you don't come home at night. Because, baby, listen, my spirit and my soul was vexed, okay? Now, to the music people out there, that was a little piece of Melanie Fiona. It kills me, okay? And just like it kills me, let me move on before the damn YouTube people put a copyright infringement on my damn video and take it all the way down, okay? Now, listen. Let's jump right on into it, okay? Because when I tell y'all I am so mad at the Nicole and Chris situation that I could spit, and I had to really talk to myself, okay, through this process. I said myself said, It said, are you really going to go in, okay, on this dog situation like you really want to, okay? Now let me say this first. The last time I talked about dogs on this channel, the people tried to shut it all the way down, okay? I had people in my comments talking about, you are not fit to reproduce based on how you view dogs in that situation. It was a big misconception. I tried to explain it as best as I could. People were not getting it. I think people have a lot of cognitive dissonance as it relates to dogs, and stating your opinion does not mean that you are coming for dogs and dog lovers, right? Now, with that being said, let's get on into Doggate, okay? Now listen. We are brought into Nicole and Chris. Actually, Chris is sitting down to the balcony crying his eyes out, okay? Boo-hooing in the eternal cry of Medea from one of them damn stage plays, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, honey, somebody done died, somebody been in an accident, somebody got some sort of disease, like something is really going on, okay? Come to find out, this man is crying down because his dogs won't be able to come to the damn apartment because the apartment got a 2-dog minimum, okay? Nicole got 1 dog, he got 2, that makes 3. If y'all can't add that together, honey, y'all need to go back to elementary school. No, I'm just joking. Anywho. So there's 3 dogs between the 2 of them, right? And so it's basically like they went to the damn management. The management said, no, 2-dog minimums, which I get because, or 2-dog maximums, because if we make an exception for you, baby, we got to make an exception for all the damn tenants. So we don't care nothing about this production, this damn show, and everything that y'all got going on. Now listen. The problem for me, it begins and ends with, listen, y'all, I've had a miniature schnauzer for the last 13 years, okay? And I love that dog. And this episode has basically taught me that maybe I'm emotionally stunted as it relates to dogs because in the eternal words of my grandmother, what is you crying for? Okay, y'all remember when the old people said, what is you crying for, baby? Stop crying or I'm going to give you a reason to cry, okay? In this day and age, okay, where you got family that could take care of the dog, you got friends that could take care of the dog. If you got enough coins, baby, you could send the dog down to the damn border and they will board the dog up for the 8 weeks of the damn process. Like, this is such not a problem that it is laughable, okay? And I'm trying to be empathetic and sympathetic down to the issue between the dog, but the fact that this man is crying down to the flow over these damn dogs, honey, I could not get it. Now, y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if I got a cold heart or if I'm not seeing a possible solution or if I'm not feeling Chris, okay? But listen, that man sat on that damn balcony and channeled his inner Meatloaf. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that, okay? Over here telling this lady that he won't do that. He'll do anything for the process, but he won't give up the damn 2 dogs for the damn 8 weeks, okay? Now listen. In a perfect world, the solution is this, okay? Nicole only got 1 dog. She keeps her 1 dog, and Chris basically does a dog exchange process where you have one of the dogs 1 week, the other dog the next week. You swap them out. Y'all go to the park and be a whole happy dog family. I did not get the problem, okay? And the issue with me is that Nicole is the only one in this situation that compromised, okay? Chris gonna give that BS thing. First off, he said, I can't ask you to do that, because she went to her dad and said, Dad, could you come up here and, take care of my dog so he can have his two in the apartment. Listen, I would be damned if I'm gonna sacrifice the benefit of having my dog so you can have both of yours at the same time, okay? That's the problem that rubs me the wrong way from the get-go, okay? Now listen, like I said, Nicole is the only one that compromised. And as far as I'm concerned, if a relationship is supposed to be even and 50-50, then y'all should have came up with some solution that benefited both people, okay? And he over there talking down to the bed after they decided or whatever. This just brings us closer, and this was a real life marriage situation that we had to figure out and stuff. Who figured out anything? Okay, it was all Nicole who figured out everything. So what is you talking for? Like, what is you talking about? What is you crying for? What is you saying? Okay, listen, it is too much, okay? Too much. Now listen, I'm gonna go unpack this in therapy. Maybe I am emotionally stunted as it relates to the dogs, but it was a non-factor for me. And the fact that you is crying so emotional and so emotionally devastated by the fact that you couldn't have your two dogs with you every single day and you couldn't find a damn compromise that worked, that spoke volumes, okay? And what does it say to the situation? Is it a stronger marriage? I truly doubt it, okay? Because Nicole had to be the bigger person. And quiet as it's kept, I hope that lady don't end up resenting you, okay? Because down the road, what does it say, okay? It says if I pout, if I cry long enough, if I look as devastated, I'm going to get my way, okay? Now listen, one time is a fluke, twice is a pattern, and by 5, it's a lifestyle. I always say that down to this damn channel, okay? So Chris, we going to give you a pass, okay? Because this is your one time messing up, or in my opinion, messing up. So maybe this is not an indicator of how you approach conflicts in relationships in terms of a longevity based way, but this really put a bad taste in my mouth in terms of an issue, a compromise, and a solution that Nicole had to be basically the bearer of, okay? And y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what you think, and we'll talk later. Now let's move on to Gina and Clint and talk about Clint's apology. Now, y'all, was it me or did Clint not really apologize to the group? Okay, like I said this last week, I said Clint's only problem in the situation is that he basically embarrassed that lady in a group format, okay? She embarrassed him one-on-one in front of all of us, okay? But Clint went and embarrassed, her down to her, people, down to the other wives that she's in the process with, down to the husbands and stuff. He did it in a public format. And my whole thing is, how you mess up is how you have to apologize, okay? Now, try as I might and rewind as I might, I could not see where Clint actually apologized to the group, right? It seems like he said everything up to I'm sorry. It was like, it was a bad choice of words. I'm very blunt. I didn't mean it that way, but he never said the words I apologize. So I don't know if I just missed it, or maybe that part was edited out, or the apology was implied, okay? But kudos to Clint, okay, for taking it on the chin and being the bigger man. As I said last week, you could either be right or you could be married, but honey, you can't be both, okay? Now, I would have really wanted Gina to apologize to Clint, privately for that whole conversation of the redheads and the gingers and how that could be, construed as kind of rude and kind of like a bad remark to make about a group of people. But listen, maybe that happened off camera and we don't know that as well. But I'm glad that Clint apologized to that lady directly, in terms of them together. And he also pseudo apologized to the group with his implied apology. And y'all let me know if y'all actually heard him say the words I'm sorry, or if it was just implied. Now let's move on to their level set relationship. And I really feel like that's a great place to be. Like, you can have a conflict with somebody. You can, go to the mat with them and feel a certain way, but you found a way through it. You found a road forward, and now y'all can level set and move forward with there. So when that lady said that he was a 5 in terms of how the relationship was right now, that's fine. Listen, I think a 5 is reasonable given what y'all went through. Okay, I got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I'm glad that on Gina's part, she didn't do what she always historically did in relationships, okay? Mama said that she was a runner and a track star, okay? And whenever you mess with me, honey, I am gone, I am ghost, and I identified with that. So the fact that, they weren't able to run, or she wasn't able to run, and they had to work it out, I think that speaks volumes for their, ways of compromisation and ways of working through issues. Now listen, quiet as it's kept, if you couldn't run, you had no choice but to work it out. But listen, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Now let's talk about Kirsten and Shaquille. And let's just talk about them faking the funk. Y'all, I didn't even write many notes for Kirsten and Shaquille because I just feel like, I think sometimes the previews for the upcoming episodes kind of can skew your vision of how the couples are proceeding in real time, right? And in the previews for next week, we seeing them sitting down with Pastor Cal, talking about how there's no kind of romantic feelings, there's no kind of like intimacy type stuff going on, right? So in my opinion, all y'all basically doing is, it seems like Shaquille is treading water because he just glad that they in a better place, and Kirsten is over here faking the funk or whatever and just trying to go along to get along. So I don't know if it's a big indicator of y'all situation. I've said from the get-go, I think y'all will be better off just trying to build a good friendship instead of trying to like put some romantic stuff into it. And come next week, we apparently gonna find out that that's basically what they've been doing. So it just seems a bit fake to me. Like, I understand that, you want to be cognizant of the other person's feelings and you don't want to go in and let have on their emotional state. But I just think that if you're more honest from the get-go, it leads to a more place where you can level set and proceed in a completely informed place, right? And that's all I'm saying. Now let's move on to Jasmine and Airris. And let's talk about Airris lying about Jasmine's rating. Now listen, Airris, you a lie and the truth ain't in you, okay? Now listen, one of the top 5 rules of reality TV, honey, is if it's brought up, okay, off camera, or if it's brought up in another conversation that's not with the actual subject of y'all relationship, eventually it's gonna get back to the person, okay? And I said this last week, don't nobody want a situation where people know more about their marriage than they do in terms of them being in the damn marriage, okay? And the fact that Aaron sat down to that table and blatantly lied when he told the damn man that he was a 4 in the situation, he got down to the table, and when that lady said whatever she said, he said, yeah, I'm like a 7.2 or whatever. I think she said 7.5, and he said, I think she said 7.5, maybe 8, and he said 7. Okay. Now I understand there's a piece of trying to protect someone's feelings, and I don't really blame him for saying that in the moment, because it's the same thing with, same thing in a sense with Gina and Clint. You don't want to embarrass your partner in a group format, okay? I just wish he would have followed that up with an informed conversation in terms of what I said down to the men's gathering. I could give you pieces and snippets of it together so you're on the same page in terms of where I am too. Now listen. He basically told that lady later that he's feeling more friend feelings, and in her confessional, she was like, I'm trying to be a wife out here in these streets. I'm not trying to be a friend. Listen, don't they say that the best relationships start as friends anyway? So listen, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Feelings can develop, feelings can grow, and everybody is different, okay? I already said this from the beginning of time in terms of this channel. I'm a person that is more based on attraction first, okay? I'm sorry, I've tried to do the whole thing. Attraction can build, like you can get to really like the person. It's never happened with me. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I know myself, right? But if you're on Married at First Sight, you're here to try things that you've never done before. So listen, if he's feeling friend feelings, and listen, he's feeling something, okay? And if you feel something, you can build to something else. So I don't think it's an issue, but I think that he needed to be a bit more honest with that lady in terms of how he's truly feeling, even though he's trying to kind of mitigate her emotions. Now, this was like a lesser point, but were y'all annoyed as hell when Chris decided to sit his crying ass down to that damn table and talking about how, Airris, do you think you could fall in love with Jasmine? Shouldn't you be more worried about your dogs and that issue, and you're crying and you channeling your inner Meatloaf and messing Nicole life over because her daddy got to come up from Florida to take care of her dog because you need to have yours with you at the same time? Like, if anybody was going to ask the messy question, personally, I thought it would have been Shaquille, okay? Because y'all remember that scene from last week where Shaquille was talking to Kirsten saying that Airris was basically faking the funk, to use the same term I used before, in terms of how he truly feels about Jasmine. I thought it would be him. So the fact that it was messy Chris, okay, when you supposed to be Mr. Nice Guy and Mr. I'm falling apart over these damn dogs and Mr. I'm messing over Nicole, you got time to worry about Airris and Jasmine relationship? Boy, stop. Let's move on. To Airris likes everything particular. So the second half of this episode, y'all, was the couples basically moving into their shared apartment space or whatever, right? And we find out that Airris basically has a particular way that he likes everything. Do I think it's a red flag? No. I really just think that, I think they said Airris is an only child. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but he's used to having things his way. And as I told y'all before, one of my old coworkers always told me, the longer you stay by yourself, the harder it is to cohabitate with somebody else because you're so used to your way of doing things, okay? And I think that's kind of what, the Airris and the Jasmine apartment dynamic is giving, okay? Do I think it's a problem? Yes and no. I will say this. I think that for Jasmine, it's cool until it isn't. People say that all the time. It's cool until it isn't, okay? It's not a problem until it is, right? So until the real Jasmine shows up and starts advocating for herself and what she wants in her own home, in terms of that being their shared space, their shared home together, she can go along to get along, but I think eventually she's going to want to have more of a say in terms of how their life is set up, how the apartment is set up, how their routines are set up. So it's not a problem until it is. And last but not least, let's talk about Domynique and Mackinley, and let's talk about them level setting as well. I think this episode was really good in terms of the couples getting on unified pages in terms of where they are. Like for Domynique, it was basically like, you complain a lot, you try things, but I don't want you to resent me in terms of me making you, making me pull you out of your shell and whatever. And for Mackinley, I was proud that he stuck up for himself. Listen, I've said before, Mackinley complains a lot even though he does the activity, right? But that can kind of weigh on a person if someone's always negative, right? But Mackinley was like, listen, I do these activities with you and I want to do these things with you, but sometimes it feels a bit antagonistic in terms of you. Like it feels like I'm an annoyance to you in terms of my personality and how I approach things, right? And that's fair. Listen, fair exchange ain't no damn robbery, okay? And if y'all both say how y'all feel, then y'all can level set there and move forward. And let's talk about Mackinley and his portable lifestyle. Y'all, I was all ready to go in on, Mackinley, and I wish I would have said this before because I had these thoughts earlier on in the season, but I really do think that it is maybe not cause for alarm, but something that makes you say, the fact that this man moved from, they said, I think Michigan to California, and then California to Tennessee, and then 5 months later, in terms of being in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, he's on Married at First Sight, okay? It just seems like you make decisions in a very haphazard fashion, okay? It's like you're flying by the seat of your pants. So I validate what Domynique is saying in terms of your lifestyle is essentially very portable, right? You can just pick up, you can go. Like you don't have any roots here. You're staying in your friend's family's house, right? So you can just pack up your one room worth of stuff that half of that damn stuff ain't even yours. Pack it up into a box and just be off to the next city. So I validate what she's saying in terms of you don't seem to have roots here, and I can't really judge your surroundings based on it actually reflecting you because you don't have, near house, near apartment, near thing of your own really in terms of a unified space that I can actually say, hey, this is Mackinley, this is what it represents, and this is my husband and how I see him, right? So I validate that. But then I got to thinking, Like I said before, baby, fair exchange ain't no robbery, okay? And lest we ever forget, Domynique, your ass ain't even signed up for the process yourself, okay? Your mama signed you up, okay? So fair exchange ain't no robbery. If you gonna have a problem with Mackinley and his portable lifestyle, then in the same vein, he could have a problem with you maybe not being as committed to this process because you ain't signed your damn self up for it in the first place, okay? And y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if y'all agree. And y'all, I think that's really all I want to talk about on this episode. So if you liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all social media at DatDamnDasher. And until next time, y'all, real life is beginning as these couples start to merge together. And I guess we're going to get the Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal song and dance. I just hope that they got some, supportive members this time in terms of other people that they bringing into the mix. Because I can't deal with another season of the Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal variety show. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.